Mike Slater sitting in for Dr. Drew tonight. Let's discuss another police shooting, one that received little national media attention. It's the story of Dylan Noble, 19-year-old, unarmed, white man, killed by police in Fresno, California. Family obviously outraged, claiming police executed him. Now, police just released the body cam footage from this incident. Warning, we're being serious. This is extremely graphic right here. So hide the kids. Take a look.
Get down on the ground now! Get down on the ground now! Get your on the ground! Fresno Police Department! Drop whatever you have in your hand! If you come forward, you're gonna get shot, man! Get down on the ground now! 3 Baker 12, shots fired, suspect down, start EMS code 3. Let me see your hands! Keep your hands up! We cannot see his hands! Dude, keep your hands out! Quit reaching for what you've got! Keep your hands out! Dude, if you reach one more time, you will get shot again. Stop! Dude!
Quit reaching for your waistband!
Wow. As hard as that is to watch, I'm glad that was released. I think we need to see the truth. America needs to see the truth about what goes on here. Eric, I want to start with you, sir. Your experience was that man having a threatening posture? Did that deserve being shot 4 times by officers, twice while standing, twice while he was down on the ground? What do you think?
The first 2 shots were clean shots. The second set of shots, there's a shady part in there in that it seems like they could have approached him and made him surrender at that point because he was incapacitated at that point. He was barely moving. It seemed like they had enough time to stop him. But when his hand was behind his waistband, that was a clean shot. Randy, you're a police officer, former police officer. The second 2 shots, because I think that's what's going to disturb most people. I think most people agree with Eric. The second 2 shots, a little more sketchy. Explain why those 2 shots were taken.
Okay, they had a couple different options here. I viewed the videotape actually a number of times, and it is very clear that he purposefully went for his waistband. You can see that his hand goes under his shirt where a weapon would normally be kept or clearly would be a threat. So I understand why they took the action that they did. Now, were there other options they could have done? They could have backed off, that's true. But when you're in combat mode, you're in combat mode. And when you still perceive that threat is there, then you have to take the action that you feel like you need to take in that split second of a time period.
Eric, speak on that, right? Once you're in that combat mode, once you make the decision to stop the threat, you can't just turn it right off like that right away. What do you think of that?
But stopping the threat includes approaching him, grabbing his arms, and putting handcuffs on him. These poliese officers are professionals. This is what they're supposed to do. No, it's not. People get arrested with weapons all the time, Randy. This man was shot. He was on the ground. They were 2 feet from him.
Eric,
you can't tell me that one guy has a gun on him, the other one can't approach him?
Let me show you guys this screen grab. I want
Being a threat does not...
Guys, I want everyone watching to see the screen grab here, screen grab, where you can see him walking towards the officers, right? Disobeying commands. 30 times he was told different commands. And you can see here, left hand in the air, but his right hand behind his back. And to speak on Randy's point, it looks like even when he's on the ground, he's still reaching for something behind him there. Tiffany, I want to go to you here because this could have been suicide by cop, right? You can hear in the clip he says, I hate my effing life. What do you make of that?
Yes. You know what? That was my first thought when I watched the video, when I saw that caption there, that maybe this was someone, and I don't know his mental health history. I don't think any of us do at this point. But I am a little troubled by it because it does feel like he was intentionally not complying with the law. I think that your guest said before, compliance is key. It's so key. He had ample opportunity to put both hands up several times, and nobody wanted this ending. It did not sound like the officers wanted this ending. They gave him every opportunity to comply. And generally, when you have a situation of a suicide by cop, they intentionally don't comply because they want the officers to shoot them.
This is interesting. We have Tiffany, we have Eric in agreement that at least in the very beginning, the first shots were justifiable. We'll start with you, Eric. Do you think if this was a black man that you would have the same reaction?
I don't don't care if a person is black, white, or green. I look at it from a legal perspective. I prosecute cases on the civil side. I've defended police officers. So I have a very objective way of looking at these cases, whether black, white, or whatever race. But the issue is whether or not it's a clean shooting. The first 2 shots were clean. The second ones are questionable.
Yep.
And I'm sure in their investigation, they're going to check it out.
I want to go on the phone to Warren Pabujian. He is the attorney for Dylan's father. Warren, back to my last question. Does the family believe that this was suicide by cop?
Oh, absolutely not. There's no history of any type of mental illness. He had a good job. He had a girlfriend. And, the point to make that I see a little bit differently is if you play the video beforehand, this was not a stop regarding a felony. This was strictly a traffic stop. So when the police had their vehicle, stopped their vehicles, they had their guns out even before the vehicle stopped.
Were they not told that they were looking for someone who was walking around with a rifle?
They were told that the person had camouflaged apparel 3 miles away, walking on foot, carrying a rifle. Now, just carrying a rifle in and of itself is not a felony. So this was a traffic stop. There's no indications when you listen to the dispatch that they're pulling him over because they suspected he happened to be this 25-year-old white male with a rifle walking down 3 miles away.
Do you think, Warren, Dylan may have been under the influence of anything when he was
I think it could be that he might have been under the influence of alcohol, but you got to put yourself in his position. He's 19 years old. He doesn't know why he's getting pulled over. Granted, he doesn't obey these commandments or these commands by the police officer, but they had a canine dog there before the first shot went off. There's a canine unit, and the officer with the shotgun brought the dog. And these shot intervals, the last 2 are between 5 seconds and 15 seconds, and they're 12 feet away. So at the end of the day, the last 2 shots are nowhere acceptable. I mean, that's an excessive force, at least in my opinion.
Annalise, what do you think? Excessive force?
I think excessive force cases are just about impossible to win, and this one is not a winner. You have a clean shot, the first 2, what people were discussing earlier. What I think you hit on, Mike, and I think this is an interesting question, why haven't we seen this yet? Because it's a white male? I think we haven't seen it yet because what's enthralling is the video, and we just got the video. The video was just released, and that's why I think we haven't seen it yet. I don't think it's a race issue.
Well, more to come, and we actually have more to come coming up next. We have the police chief tells us why the officers felt threatened in the first place, as Warren was just referencing there. And coming up later, race in America. Why? Why still is this topic tearing America apart? It's 2016, people. Back after this.